Okay guys, so these knives have finished the DET annealing process, and I need to get them out of these stainless envelopes and clean them up, and then I'll put some more ATP compound on them, and then they'll be ready for heat treat. But I thought it'd be kind of interesting to talk about what I do here. So I coat them with anti-scale, and then I put them in the stainless foil envelopes. And that's to keep the oxygen away from them while they're going through the multiple annealing steps during the DET anneal. And it keeps majority of the oxygen away from the blade, so there's very minimal amount of decarburization and scale. Okay. Nothing real crazy there. This flaky stuff, that's the anti-scale coating, ATP 641 it's called. It's basically kind of a really thinned out clay mixture that gets painted on the blades just to prevent oxygen from causing any major issues. If you put carbon steel in a 1500 degree oven, it'll actually cook out basically some of the carbon out of the steel, which then makes the steel soft. So I'll get these cleaned up and recoated, and then they'll be ready for heat treating. So what is a DET anneal and why do it? Well, annealing is the process of taking a hardened steel and softening it, right? You heat it up and it melts the carbides and other crystal structures within the steel, softening the steel. And the reason we do this prior to heat treating is because as we go through the DET annealing process, which is actually a process of multiple different annealing steps, it basically refines the grain structure of the steel to a finer and finer and finer point. So that way when the steel's hardened, you have a very tight woven, so to speak, network within your steel. And that makes the steel tougher, and of course the edge lasts longer. And on these bush hunters, I was trying to build myself my quote-unquote version of my ultimate field knife, and so that's why I do the DET anneal on these. On my more standard models like the Buffalo Scout and the Drop Tine, I'll do a more standard industry recommended heat treat practice. The thing with DET annealing is there's a lot of experimentation involved, and I've taken the time, literally months, probably 100 hours put into perfecting my DET annealing process. Whereas an industry standard heat treat kind of gives you good results right out of the gate for the type of steel you're using. And, let's remember that even regular 52-100 high carbon steel is no slouch. I mean, ball bearings are made out of it, drill bits, taps, dies, a lot of heavy use machinery and equipment is made from 52-100. It's a very well-known steel, and so it's very tough all on its own with just a normal heat treat. So anyways, I just kind of wanted to explain what all that was and why I would do it. I've got another set of 4 that I need to go through the same process with, and then they'll all be ready to do the final hardening and temper.